This is the video diary of Corporal John Bevan. I'm an army photographer and I'm currently serving with 12 Mechanised Brigade Media Operations, part of Task Force Helmand operating in southern Afghanistan. Over the next 7 to 10 days I'm taking you along with me, showing you the challenges that I face as both a photographer and a soldier, as I live with 19 Regiment Royal Artillery. And I just had a fire mission order, the first one of the day. It's now just coming up to 10 o'clock. And all 3 guns will now be firing on the Taliban positions. It's been a journey in the last 6 months, and my recollection now is all through my images. What drives me on as a photographer is to give the soldiers a voice through the lens of my camera. I like to speak the truth, and I'll take pictures of good and the bad. At the moment the gun's on rest. Reason for that is the FOO, who are the forward observation officers, they have to guarantee that there's no civilians near the area, as they are going to be firing highly explosive rounds. So we're just waiting for the 100% clearance on that. Afghanistan was different for me as a photographer, unlike my other previous postings to either Bosnia or Iraq, in the sense that I was actually capturing military history as it unfolded in front of me. And I knew it's important to capture as many images as possible to portray the true events of what is going on in Afghanistan. The heat seems to be better to cope with now. Temperatures are up, still in the 60s. But being out here just a few days, the body gets used to it, although you do try to stay under shade as much as possible and get as much rest, because at a minute's notice the guys could be called into action. Number 3! During my time with the Royal Artillery, what sticks out for me is the banter between the men and the women. There was one single female amongst the 40 so strong gun troops. It was interesting to watch from an outside perspective how they operate and how they got on. I missed this a lot as a photographer, and you don't have a section or a troop or a company to work with. So it was nice to be part of a gun det or a troop, and this is what, nice memories that I'll take away with me. Yesterday also I just did some filming of the Remy guys. They're the vehicle mechanics. They were just replacing a starter motor on one of the Wimmick Land Rovers. Again, in the middle of the day, it's so hot, but it's a job they have to do, and that's why they're here, so they just have to make do with it.
There's a rocket that's fired over us now. Maybe when it's fired to aircraft, he's still engaging other runners.
During my time, I knew it was important to get close to the action, but I knew there would be elements of danger going forward, especially only within meters of the Taliban in some situations. An RPG exploded just above my head, which was an extremely close call. Over the last week or so that we've been out here now, there's been sadly 3 deaths. 3 British soldiers have died. One died in an explosion just outside Sangin on a routine patrol, and 2 soldiers have died through the fighting from the Green Zone in the Upper Gresh Valley. I'd met a photographer, a war correspondent called Marco Deloro, who told me it was all about emotions and you had to portray the images. And in this situation I'd photographed a young child of the age of 3 who'd been injured during fighting around Sangin. It was touch and go whether this young child was going to live, and being a parent myself, I found it very difficult to photograph this young boy, knowing the fact that he may actually die. But then the words of Marco were ringing in my ears, the fact that I'm giving this young boy his speech through my lens, and is why I continued to photograph, which was a remarkable journey through to recovery, which helped me then deal with the situation, knowing that he had pulled through. It's getting really hard now to concentrate on things. It's really tiring. The heat saps all energy out of you, and you don't get any sleep at all at night really. It's very uncomfortable. Come on! Fire! In Afghanistan, I feel proud to say that I was probably one of the minority who didn't actually shoot their weapon when outside of the camp. Whilst everybody around me was changing magazines, I'd be changing flashcards. It's day 10. Today's day now. I'll be leaving to go back to Camp Bastion. The battery itself is split up into 2 troops. Dragon Troop, who I've been staying with, are going to be remaining here for a further 10 days, and the other troop will be travelling back to Camp Bastion. It's the icing on the cake as a photographer to see our work being used. Prior to being deployed, I didn't have one single image published in 6 months. Although I'd taken a nice collection of images, in all honesty I didn't know what to do with them. Deploying to Afghanistan, suddenly you're thrust into the limelight, and a lot of news agencies want images of Afghanistan. I'm thoroughly pleased with all the pictures that I've taken, which you can obviously see, and hopefully it'll be a good reflection of what the guys have to put up with when they live out the desert here, which is quite isolated, but I think the guys have done a terrific job.